and I'm going to call the Planning and Heritage Subcommittee meeting to order. We do have regrets from Councillor Ingram. Item number 2, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Item number 3, delegations. There are none scheduled. Item number 4, report of the Chief Building Officer. Item 4.1 is secondary suite registration bylaw. And I believe Mr. DeWeerd is there. Jonathan, do you want to take us through your presentation? There you are.
There I am. Yes, through you, Chair Ritzma. Yes, I would be happy to bring you through the report. So the title of this report is Secondary Suite Registration Bylaw, and our objective is to approve a registration bylaw for secondary suite units created within the City of Stratford to promote consumer safety. So I'll go through the background and then we'll open it up if you have any questions on the report of the bylaw. So on February 14th, 2022, Council did approve a new comprehensive zoning bylaw, which permits secondary suites to be permitted in single detached, semi and townhouse dwelling units. And the purpose of this registration bylaw is to promote consumer safety, as well as to ensure that these units are known to first responders, including our fire, police, and EMS services. Another benefit of this program would be that we would be able to ensure that the municipal numbering system is looked after for these units, and ensure that garbage pickup and those types of things, the green bin system is all in place for these. So we are looking at some fees for the initial registration, and then every 3 years for a renewal registration. And those fees are listed in the report, but they are $250 for the initial fee for the registration, and then $150 every 3 years just for a renewal, to ensure that the insurance and those types of things is still in place for those. So beyond that, I'm open to any questions that council or committee may have at this time.
Go ahead, Kathy. Councillor Vasilakos, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So I'm wondering if there will be a public facing registry for this. The reason I ask is because I know in a lot of cities that have a lot of secondary students, there is a registry, and I did have opportunity to use it to make sure that the secondary suite that was being rented was legal and compliant and had everything that it was required to have.
Yeah, and through you, Chair Ritzman, yes, that's the intention with this, as well as that we would have these listed on the city's bylaw, similar to surrounding areas. I know Barrie, Mississauga, Aurora, other municipalities like that do have these registrations, and that's the consumer protection piece that we want to be able to show where the legal ones are. That will help us hopefully identify some of the illegal ones and help them become legal as well.
Perfect. Anything, Councillor Clifford, and then Councillor Bunting.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is there a house inspection or like a fire department inspection on this, or is that $250 only for paperwork?
There would be an inspection process through this as well. Some of these will fall under the requirements of a building permit, in which case we will pick it up through the building department, the initial inspection. So there will be a little bit less, but that's partially where this fee is coming in, is to cover off any incidental inspections that we have to perform.
Thank you, Jonathan. Councillor Bunting.
Yes, thank you. With respect to the 3 years, every 3 years, number one, and also the numbers involved in dollars, is that sort of par for the course in these other municipalities that you spoke of?
So it is very on par with other municipalities. I'd say we might be on the slightly low side of what other municipalities are charging at those rates for these registrations. And part of the reason is we want to encourage these units. We want to encourage more housing and of course safe housing as we move forward here with these programs. So we don't want to stifle it, and thinking ahead, $250 isn't that much money when you're thinking 3 years for registration, right? So just to put it in perspective that way as well.
And these other municipalities have a sort of a 3-year or 4-year, whatever it is, renewal, that's standard, I guess, I take it.
There are some that do only have the initial registration. It was actually through our solicitor that it was recommended that we do the renewal. And the rationale behind that is that you pick up and ensure that there is still insurance after that 3-year span. You know, otherwise we have no recourse to see if those units are still insured. So we're kind of providing a service by putting them on the website and saying that they're registered. That was the premise behind that.
Oh, thank you. That answered my question. Thank you.
Councillor Clifford, another question?
I was just going to ask, it isn't exactly what we're talking about, but obviously, like as far as parking and cars and stuff, it's all being taken care of by, like, will it be in the, like the permit, like when a permit is called for? And the other question I have, how many are we expecting? Is there, like, we got so many houses, how many are we expecting to actually help us with this? Because I think it's very important, by the way.
Yeah. So I think the first question regarding the parking, yes, parking is looked at through the zoning review that we do through the building department when we review the permit. So that would be looked after there. You know, as I mentioned in the report, we're expecting maybe between 50 to 75. So far we've had, and that's annually as we take off here. So initially, we've already, since the 11th of March, we've had 4 applications. 3 have been permits issued. So, you know, we're starting. One of the things we'd like to do once we get, you know, this registration in place too is to go out and actually start promoting this in the city. You know, here's the different types of housing opportunities that you have in the city. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't even, you know, they're not even aware that they could create these secondary suite units either in a basement or up in a second story of a home and make these things legal. So we want to do a bit of an education piece on that too, to help that.
Anything further from committee members? There is a staff recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Vasilakos. We'll move that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. DeWeerd, for your work on this. So we're moving down to item number 5, and that's the project update. And that was sent out to us electronically through the clerk's office. It's there. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I know Director Krinklaw is available. If there are questions, likely pop up shortly. There he is there. Any questions for Director Krinklaw with regards to the project update? Councillor Clifford, thank you.
I can't remember if it was on there, but we've asked this almost every time. The McCarthy extension, is it closer than it was yesterday?
Through the chair, we have made some progress, definitely for multiple ends to help push this project through. But that being said, it's not done and sealed yet. There's still a bit of legwork to go before we can present them to council.
Thank you. Councillor Bunting.
Yes, just with regards to, I realize that extension's got a roundabout at the end of it. So while sticking with the same topic as roundabouts, I've had a number of concerns from people in the South End with respect to the intersection of Lorne and O'Lone at Dunn's Bridge in particular, about how crazy it is to even try to, you're taking your life in your hands sometimes to turn left, and the backup of traffic is substantial, with the potential for multiple high rise in the area and the continuing growth of houses in that area. I would, is there anything on the radar at all with regards to that?
Yeah, to the chair, not that I'm aware of. There could be. I will follow up for the next probably ITS subcommittee meeting. I'll provide comments in there if that works.
Thank you, Councillor Bunting. I've heard the same. I've received the same kind of concerns, whether it's a light. I don't believe a roundabout with the river being so close. So Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that forward. Anything further for our director? Okay, then moving down, item 6, there are no committee or board minutes. Our next meeting, subcommittee meeting, is slated for April the 28th at 4:30. And our last item is mover to adjourn. Thank you, Councillor Bunting. All in favor? And we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.